Most people visit a country once. They go. They see the highlights. They take the photos. They come home and say it was amazing. And then they move on to the next destination on the list. That is how travel usually works. But there is one country in Asia that keeps pulling people back. Not once. Not twice. Again and again. That is actually the wrong question. The right question is, why do people who have already been to Malaysia keep finding reasons to go back? I have been traveling in Malaysia and across Asia for years. And if you ask them why, they struggle to explain it. Is Malaysia worth visiting? I have spoken to hundreds of travelers, backpackers, families, business travelers, retirees. And the pattern around Malaysia is unlike anything I have seen with any other country. People return. And the reason is not what you think. Welcome to Unseen Tier. If you are new here, this channel exists to find the stories about countries that the mainstream travel conversation always manages to miss. Subscribe now because we release new documentaries every single week, and this is exactly the kind of content we make here. Now let me tell you what is really going on with Malaysia. The question nobody asks. Before we get into the stories, I want to ask you something. Think about the last country you visited that genuinely impressed you. Singapore maybe. Japan. Thailand. Bali. Places that left you breathless. Now ask yourself. Did you feel like a guest? Or did you feel like you belonged? There is a difference. And most people feel it without ever putting it into words. In a lot of the most celebrated destinations in Asia, the experience is curated for you. The temples are stunning but roped off. The service is exceptional but formal. The beauty is real but it exists at a slight distance, like looking at something through glass. You visit. You admire. You leave. Malaysia travel experience is fundamentally different. And I did not fully understand why until I stopped moving long enough to actually pay attention. The Mamak stall. It is 2 a.m. in Kuala Lumpur. I am sitting at a plastic table under fluorescent lights on a street corner that has no business being this alive at this hour. The teh tarik arrives before I finish ordering it. Steam rising from the glass. The guy at the next table is explaining something loudly to his friend, laughing halfway through his own sentence. A family with 3 kids is sharing a roti canai. An older man in a songkok is reading a newspaper like it is Sunday afternoon and not the middle of the night. Nobody is performing for anyone. Nobody is putting on a show. This is just Tuesday in Malaysia. I had been traveling in Malaysia for about 2 weeks at that point, and something kept catching my attention that I could not name. It was not the food, though the food is extraordinary. It was not the price, though the value is remarkable. It was not the architecture or the nature or the beaches, though all of those things are genuinely worth your time. It was this. The sense that you had somehow walked into a place that was not arranged for your arrival. Most tourist destinations are built around the visitor. The streets near the landmarks are lined with shops selling things tourists want. The restaurants near the hotels have menus translated into 6 languages. The experience is designed to be consumed. The Mamak stall does not care that you are a tourist. It is not for you specifically. It is for everyone. And by being for everyone, it somehow becomes the most welcoming place you have ever sat down in. That was the first thing I noticed about why Visit Malaysia keeps showing up in conversations between people who have already been there multiple times. It is not a highlight. It is an atmosphere. And atmospheres are what bring people back. The couple from Ohio. I met them at a guest house in Penang. Mark and Sandra. Retired teachers from Ohio. This was their 4th trip to Malaysia. I asked them why. Sandra laughed like it was a question she had answered before and still found slightly impossible to answer properly. She said they had done Japan. Beautiful. Perfect. But exhausting in a way she could not explain. Everything had a correct way of being done and you were always slightly aware that you might be doing it wrong. They had done Thailand. Loved it. But after a while it started to feel like the Thailand they were seeing had been assembled specifically for people like them. Then they came to Malaysia for the first time, almost by accident, because it was between two other destinations on the itinerary. And something happened on the third day that neither of them expected. They got lost in Georgetown. Not badly lost. Just turned around in the back streets away from the tourist trail. And a woman who was locking up her shop saw them looking confused, put down her keys, walked them to where they needed to go, refused any kind of thanks, and went back to lock her shop. No transaction. No expectation. No performance of hospitality. Just a person helping two strangers because they needed help. Mark said, "We have traveled a lot. That kind of thing happens everywhere occasionally. But in Malaysia it kept happening. Over and over. Until we stopped being surprised by it and started being grateful for it. That was 6 years ago. They have been back 3 times since. And here is what surprised me most when they told that story. They could not name a single landmark from that first trip that made them want to return. Not one attraction. Not one famous site. They came back for the feeling. The midpoint shift. Now here is what I want you to understand. I have been to the best places in Asia that travel guides tell you Asia has to offer. And they are genuinely impressive. I am not dismissing them. But the moment that really changed everything for me did not happen in any of those places. It happened in a small coffee shop in Ipoh. I had been sitting there for about an hour, working. Nobody had asked me to buy anything else. Nobody had given me the look that means your time is up. The owner, an older Chinese Malaysian man, came over at one point not to check if I needed anything but just to ask where I was from. We talked for 40 minutes. About cities. About how places change. About what he remembered of Ipoh when he was young. About his daughter who was studying in Kuala Lumpur and called him every Sunday. He was not a tour guide. He was not trying to sell me anything. He was just a person having a conversation with another person. When I left he said, "Come back and I will show you the old town properly." I did go back. 2 days later. He showed me streets I would never have found alone. That is the Malaysia travel experience that nobody photographs. That is why visit Malaysia as a question misses the actual point. The question is not whether to visit. The question is whether you are ready to let a place actually reach you. What makes Malaysia different? Let me be direct about something. Malaysia is not perfect. It has challenges. Traffic. Political complexity. Infrastructure that varies significantly depending on where you are. I am not selling you a postcard. But here is what Malaysia has that is genuinely rare. It is multicultural in a way that is not a marketing slogan. Malay, Chinese, Indian, indigenous communities living alongside each other in a friction that is real and a harmony that is also real, both existing at the same time without either one canceling the other out. When you sit at a table in Malaysia, the person serving you might be any one of those backgrounds. The music coming from the next shop might be in a completely different language. The festival happening this weekend might belong to a religion that is not the majority religion of the country. And none of it feels like a performance of diversity. It feels like a place that simply became this way over centuries and got used to it. Some countries you photograph. Some countries you study. Some countries you admire from a careful distance. Malaysia is the one that pulls up a chair and asks if you have eaten. That is the difference. Malaysia does not impress you. It accepts you. And that is something that no ranking captures and no highlight reel conveys. If you have been watching this and you feel like this channel understands the kind of travel content you have been looking for, subscribe to Unseen Tier right now. Hit the notification bell. This is what we do every week. We find the layer underneath the obvious. Subscribe and come back for more. The Return. So is Malaysia worth visiting? I want to answer that properly. Every country is worth visiting once. The question that actually matters is which places are worth returning to. Which places stay with you after you leave. Which places you find yourself thinking about on a random Tuesday 6 months later when nothing in particular reminded you of them. Malaysia keeps showing up in that list for people. Not because of the best places to visit in Malaysia that you find in a travel guide. Not because of the landmarks or the beaches or the famous food trail in Penang. Because of the coffee shop owner in Ipoh who showed a stranger the old town. Because of the woman in Georgetown who walked 2 lost tourists to where they needed to go and asked for nothing. Because of the mamak stall at 2 in the morning that made you feel like you had lived there for years within the first 20 minutes of sitting down. Some countries you visit once and check off the list. Malaysia is the one that gets added to the list again. That is the only answer that matters. What is one thing about Malaysia that stayed with you after you left? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you are not yet part of the Unseen Tier community, subscribe now. Hit the notification bell. Every week we go deeper into the countries and the stories that the mainstream travel conversation never quite gets around to telling. The next one is already being made.